Okay, so I've done a thing or three. We now have X Dash, and we have this sucker, who is, oh my god, what are his stats? Is this even viable? We'll find out. Okay, we're just gonna do Green Acres because I believe in myself. Oh, my controls are inverted? That's how this character functions? Does he, like, also do no damage? His stats are completely randomized, if I recall. Oh. Wait. His stats are random. I don't know if this is random, though. I don't seem to do any damage to anything. Are you sure it's the Reaper has random stats, or is it X-Dash that has random stats? Yeah, who is this character? A dumb joke. I'm glad that he exists, but I'm not entirely sure how to utilize him, as he seems to have no functional usage at the moment. Yeah, how to get this character. Boy, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, McQueeb has a great video on how to get it. I'm not gonna explain it. I'm not good at looking at Java and explaining anything. It doesn't even take damage. Nope. So, technically, we could actually just hang out here for the next half hour and do nothing. I'm gonna try relaunching with him again and see if it, like, randomizes his stats more. It'd actually be really cool if he had totally randomized stats with, like, no sense. Can the Reaper even kill him? Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know. Yeah, so it seems like it hits, but it just kind of knocks enemies around. So as neat as the character is, not that useful. Let's try the other character. Wait, he really does have random stats? You sure? Because it seems like my stats have been pretty consistently not functional here. Unless it's been nerfed recently. Because it could be locked in specifically. Oh, it might be on the game launch? Oh. You know what? That might yeah, sure. Let's quit out of the game. Let's see if I can get it back. Because a randomized stats on a character sounds really fun for making Vampire Survivors exciting. It might be something that was actually I am pretty sure these are the exact same stats. Yeah, it seems to be broken. I wonder if the update that came out today messed with it, or the beta that I'm on. Because that's unfortunate, and it's okay. Let's just stick a pin in the Reaper for a while, and let's give X Dash a shot. So he's, as far as I know, slow as shit, and starts with a pigeon. Dunno. And let's go to Green Acres. Though I think I'm going to die here, because Green Acres is a bad place to be. On the plus side, starting with Ebony Wings does really kind of control exactly what I'm gonna do here. Do I want to grab garlic? Yeah. I think I'm gonna need garlic. Otherwise, I'm not doing shit for this run. There we go. Whereas this way, I'm good. What do I want to invest in? Santa water? Yes. Let's just go for the circle of safety and go big ghost business. And just see what happens. I will admit, I think this is my favorite character. Largely just because he looks so happy. Are there sound effects in this game? Yeah, I can turn them back on. I had them turned off because They were just kind of repetitive. Okay. And they're kind of quiet. They were kind of repetitive, and originally the soundtrack for this game was copyrighted. I'm honestly doubting whether or not I actually want to have them on. But yeah, it's just going to sound like beep, 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 ding, 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 ding. I don't know. I'm not against it, but it just feels like kind of random noise. I know they changed it to non-copyrighted music, but originally it was not, and so I was honestly afraid that the game was going to have copyrighted soundtracks as well. Oh, you know what? I still have everything muted. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. And whenever I'm playing somebody else's YouTube videos, am I taking damage here? Can I take damage? I shouldn't be invulnerable. I think I'm just killing things hard enough. Probably. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, whenever I'm playing somebody else's YouTube video, so I was looking at the McQueeb guide on how to get the Reaper. Let's see. I muted it because I didn't want his voice mixing in. Let's see. Keep going garlic. We're just gonna go pigeons and garlic, and we'll just see what happens. Holy shit, why is this working so well? Either I'm secretly invincible for some reason, or garlic is way better than I expected around here. Oh shit, have I even done a run with the Greed is Good character yet? I don't think I have. Well, I guess I'm just gonna battering garlic straight into everything for at least a little while. Hey, garlic just one-shots the bat. Eh, it's fair. I'm just gonna get blasted by the first plant that sniffs my direction. Guess makes little sense because plants don't smell. Question mark? You know what? There's gotta be a plant that has a sense of smell out there. Garlic goes with everything. Rule for cooking. It does! I mean, dosage depends a little bit. I definitely remember once upending an entire shaker of garlic by accident. Okay, I can't take damage. I just want to make sure that I haven't broken the game. That's my main kind of... I don't want to say selling point here. Let's grab the attract orb, because that's going to be massively helpful. But yeah, it would be pretty sad if I accidentally hacked the game so I just, like, cannot take damage. There we go. Now, how do you normally get this character? Is this the character that you get specifically from random luck pickups? I think that's the case. At least that's what the rumor was. Plants also detect chemicals in the ground and water on the ground, so that's kind of smelling as well. Fair. I shouldn't be reading chat too much while I'm playing this game, otherwise I will die. What is my luck stat, by the way? 150%. Let's see if that actually makes any kind of tangible difference. Oh, right, you get this character from putting the code in the main menu. That's what it was. Sorry. Trying to unlock the Reaper, or missing no, absolutely just kind of broke my memory on anything and everything else. I was just like, all right, and it's gone. It happens when I'm a little hungry when I'm recording. Yeah, let's just keep boosting the garlic for the time being. Because if I can get the super pigeon early, this run becomes cakewalk-ish. Though, unless I'm mistaken, you don't actually get new unlocks until, or you don't actually get evolutions until you hit, like, 10 minutes in, supposedly? So that actually does kind of hamper things just a smidge. So, was there an update for the game? Yes, kind of. So there was an update for the game. Technically, I've been playing the update for a little while because I've just been on the public beta since forever. But so the new update added this new map, as well as two new characters, one based around health and one based around the Bible. There we go. I'm not a big fan of these sound effects, to be honest. It's mostly just dinga 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 dinga. I'm getting a lot of EXP. I'm gonna turn them back off. I know a lot of people can't play games without sound effects, but like, I can barely play games with sound effects. Depends on the game, honestly. The more repetitive a sound effect is, the more it kind of just bugs me, especially if it's high-pitched or like gun noises. I am a myriad of maladies. I have like very light tinnitus and very little like actually sets that off. But gun noises and high-pitched sounds absolutely do in the worst possible way. Depends on the game for me. I'm very much the same place as you, Wander. Yeah. Also, it's up a Vec. How was life? Did you manage to survive yesterday, or is it a long saga leading to your inevitable demise? I mean, it's Zomboid. It's got to lead to your demise. I gotta play that game more often. Free time is not my forte. I got too many other things to do. Also, Pokemon. I am not nearly as, I don't want to say resilient as you are. End of my stream every day is like, alright, time to go eat dinner. And I know you're gonna rib me for it every time it comes up, too. 'Cause yeah, I know you've, you, as in a vac. For those of you that might have missed that I'm kind of responding to him, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Avak has ribbed me a couple of times for being, like, reliant on food, and it's like, oh, but food is what keeps me going. I need it. Finally got groceries, too. We've been kind of lean lately. The whole, Omicron surge in the US has more or less turned me into, like, turbo hermit, which honestly shouldn't really surprise most people. But so, like, from my perspective, going outside or doing anything is kind of risky. So, like, I'll go to a hiking place where, you know I can be outside and, you know, generally keep my distance from people. No, let's keep going, Pichon. Because, yeah, if I can get Super Pigeon, I'm in a good spot. Bip, bop, bip, bop, bop, bip. There we go. They even have the Explodey Banshees in here. What does this level not have, actually? Because it kind of feels like they specifically made it so that it would be every, just every enemy packed into one level. My ability to skip meals was probably one of the main reasons I, didn't lose my mind during COVID. Hated going outside. Yeah. I'm still kind of iffy on going outside and being around people. We live right on the edge of an area where a lot of people specifically are decidedly unmasked. Like, if I go X number of miles one way, everybody's masked up and, like, you know, probably vaxxed and so on and so forth. And if I go a couple miles the other direction, no masks and a lot of kind of spooky iconography on the backs of vanity pickup trucks. And let me tell you, every once in a while we'd have to, like, stop in that side of things, you know, for gas or groceries or something like that. Not a mask in sight, and everybody probably wasn't vaxxed, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to be around these people. I'm sure they're nice to their friends, maybe, but I'm sure they're going to look at me like I'm some freaky weirdo for wearing a mask and keeping my distance from them. Oh, this is working way better than I was expecting it would. I usually besmirch garlic as not that helpful, but it is kind of wearing the crown today. I'm in one of those areas too, but the spooky pickup truck is on my street. Ouch! And we had one of those people living on my street, kind of at the beginning of everything. And then I'm pretty sure they got evicted for having way too many people in the house. Because there was like 6 cars parked outside all the time. Oh, hell yeah. Get toasty. Let's see. I don't know what it's like in the US, but press over here makes it seem like you were harassed for wearing masks in some places over there. Yes. Actually, that's very much a common thing depending on where you are and who you're around. And it's nothing short of bewildering and kind of scary. But yeah, I've had quite a number of people proudly walking by and kind of sneering with the whole kind of like, you're wearing a mask and I'm too free and don't need a mask. And it's like, all right, if you believe that, but I'm gonna be over here not near you. And like, maybe they're fine, but probably not. That's why I want to go be a hermit. Buy a house somewhere like relatively isolated from people so I can have just like a ton of yards so I can be outside without having to dodge, you know, this or that other person. Still kind of trying to figure out what I want to do on that regard, because it's like, I definitely am tired of renting a house. And I very much would like a place that is like, I don't want to say super isolated because I think that would be kind of weird. But it would be so lovely to just have, like, enough space to play Frisbee without seeing another person or having to, you know, dodge somebody's untended leavings. Dogs' leavings. Not people leavings. Well, I mean, that can and will happen, too. Oh, yeah, Skella Wave. But no, thankfully, most of the places that I specifically live... Oh, this might actually get really dangerous really fast. I thought Skella Wave was going to be safe. It was not. They're just tough enough that my garlic was insufficient. Oh, that sucks. Well, do we want to do Demario? Permanent extra duration and speed. Reduce movement speed. Yeah, let's do a Demario run. Because I like X-Dash. I think it could be kind of fun. But let's go with Bibble. Bibble man. And stick around here just because. Be like the guy from Up and Live in the Sky. I mean, we have the same name, so yes. The problem with isolation is internet service. Is true. Okay, so we're looking for duration. Duration is a little weird. Duration and speed. So Lightning Ring doesn't get helped by that too much. The Cross does. So let's go for the Cross. And we want the Santa Water, because the bonus duration should make Santa Water into something truly beastly here. Yeah, you could always get satellite service. I can't imagine streaming on satellite service is at all a good idea. No, the state I was looking at for at least a little while and might still be looking more at is Vermont. Because like half of Vermont has fiber at this point. I don't think I'd be able to cut it in, like, Montana or something. I mean, for a lot of reasons. But, let's see. But, specifically, Vermont is relatively unsettled comparatively and has a decent amount of fiber. And so it's like, yeah, that would be kind of convenient for my needs. You know how Santa Water at max projectiles is not just random anymore? Yeah, it's just a circle around you. I mean, technically, it is just always a circle around you, I think. You just don't notice. But I could be wrong. Okay, so how are we doing this? Do we want the empty tome? Yeah. I feel like empty tome is kind of one of those must items that no matter what. I know you don't want to rent, but I got a 2x3 closet. I wouldn't mind renting out for $4,000 a month. As a kid, I wanted to have a walk-in closet as like my bedroom. I don't like light when I'm sleeping, so like the idea of putting a bed inside a walk-in closet would be really cool. That said, I would absolutely die from the lack of, you know, proper airflow. And I would just get, like, so cooked in such a bad way. But no. I'm not even against renting so much as just I'm against the current prices for rental houses. Or apartments. I looked at an old apartment of mine, and the price had gone up by $300 since the last time we were there 3 years ago, and it's like, I don't know. Turn the lightning ring into a chain lightning or electric field or something amazing as that. Oh, dude, lightning ring plus Santa water would be a really fun combo. Duplicate projectiles? Yes, that would help literally every single one of my items here. What character did you use for the statue run? Poe Rancho. He's the only character that I think you can pull it off with. We should... I could give that another shot if I wanted to. Okay, so what else should I get? Because I could go garlic if I wanted to. We might want to go for the AoE size. Or no, we should get the knife for projectile speed. Maybe? Otherwise I could go for the double Ebony Wings and just hope for the best. But that's quite the investment and low power for a while. Because pigeons have massive payoff if you can get them, and they suck so bad if you can't. Because if I go double pigeon, we can still get the projectile speed. Actually no. Let's go for the pigeons, because the extra duration that this guy specifically has goes a very long way. Also, holy crap, this guy is really slow. The cost of the cheapest apartments here in Tampa, Florida is $1,350. Oof. Getting to the point where lower paid employees are gonna have to start moving out of the city or splitting rent via roommates. I don't want to get into this too much because I'm very passionate about these things. I'm one of those crazy people that back when gosh, where was he? If you guys remember the meme for the rent is too damn high guy, I want to say that was in the UK. It was either the UK or New York, and I honestly cannot remember which. But I remember that he like kind of came into prominence just because he was kind of a fun meme, because he looked really cool? Question mark? I don't know. I thought he looked badass, but I actually like stopped to listen to him instead of just being like, haha, funny meme. And like, dude brought up a lot of points, and so I've just like always been a little hyper focused on like, boy, that rent sure is just creeping up a little bit. And the idea of like splitting a house with roommates isn't necessarily bad, but inherently a little spooky at the same time, because you really do not want, you know, just whole generations of people and kind of whole classes of people that can't get their own places. I keep seeing articles about like, millennials aren't having kids, and it's like, yup, wonder why. I mean, for me, it's just kind of more climate change, and also I don't know, my work is my baby. Do I want to keep going King Bibble or no? I think I'm gonna keep pushing Empty Tome. Usually I go for a weapon first, but I think maybe going for cooldown works the best, because if I can get the Bible to double proc, that actually makes it absurdly good on its own right. And the evolved version is better, but still. Yeah, I visited a friend just out of college. Yeah, the double proc Bible is honestly almost as good as the evolved form on its own. Do I go for the... Yeah, we gotta go for the attract orb. We need to pick up the EXP, and that's gonna get harder and harder. But yeah, I visited a couple of friends down in Southern California. One who lives in LA, and works there specifically, has to be there because that's where the animation and movie industry kind of is. And so, like, if you want to get a job as, like, a storyboard artist, maybe nowadays is a little bit easier since work from home is a little bit more accepted, but for the most part, certain industries, like, force you to be in San Francisco or Los Angeles if you want to even have a chance at actually, if you want to have a chance at actually, you know, getting a job, period. At least a job at a place that isn't just making knockoff, or not knockoff, well, actually, literally knockoff games, branded for Nickelodeon. It's like, I straight up remember, you know, the orders were, hey, take Monaco and then rebrand it as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. Don't worry about copyright. It's fine. And that, like, literally we had to make a game based on that. But so, another friend that I knew worked in San Francisco. Technically, he lived in San Francisco and he worked in Mountain View, down at Google HQ. Google. I don't know. My ability to make mouth noises is sometimes suspect. But so, he worked at Google, lived in San Francisco, and I remember, yeah, we're getting the double book a little bit here. If I can get the Spellbinder, we actually end up in kind of a fun spot. Look at it go. I actually really like this guy. He's got some potential to him, especially with some of the other evolutions too. Oh, but I remember talking to him and I was just curious. I was like, yeah, how much is your rent? And it was like $2,700 for a single bedroom apartment in kind of the college district of San Francisco. I think that's what it was. I don't know. It was kind of like one of the hipper areas. I remember just being blown away because my apartment, the only apartment I'd ever rented prior, was like $800 a month split between two people. And that wasn't nearly as bad. Let's see. What weapons did you use on the statue run? Bibble, garlic, whip, I think? Pigeons? Mostly anything that's kind of short range. You don't want to go long. Long range destroys you. Because then it leaves the EXP outside of your reach. And then you can't pick it up. Though, I would say, instead of asking me, I do have a video on like how to do it. But $1,700 for a one-bedroom apartment. I'm not in a major city. Crimes. And my current place costs $1,900, and that's because my landlords are nice enough not to raise the rent on us while we're still here. But after we're gone, either the rent is going to go up by like $600-700, or they're going to sell the house while the prices are high. And it's like, I get it. It's totally fair to do both of those, and I'm super glad that they didn't raise the rent on me by like an absurd degree. Oh, I should probably grab the clover now that I'm thinking about it, if I've got the crosses. $1,400 at 350 square feet. Cripes. On a house in southern Ontario and our mortgage payment is only $1,350 per month. Lived in Halifax, your apartment is $650 a month. I wouldn't be surprised if things aren't a lot more expensive. I know in Canada it's bad. My buddy Jonas is in the market to buy like a new house, and he was talking about most of the properties in kind of his general area seems to be about like $1 million or something like that, which is, I have no idea what his financial state is, and I'm not going to ask, but like $1 million for a house is a ridiculous sum. Maybe if you're getting like a really nice house, but if that's just like the entry price, which is actually kind of a problem for me because we're going back to Boston area because that's where my parents live, and we're gonna live with them until I can find a new place. And also it'd just be kind of nice to have people around that I know are safe and, you know, not going out and breathing on strangers or being breathed on by strangers. Because they both work remotely and don't go outside either except for to hike, which is pretty safe. And also my dad's big on epidemiology, so if there's anybody that I can be safe around, probably him. But like I was looking at houses in just the ballpark of where my parents live, and to get a shit house, it would be like $500,000, and it's just like, I'd actually love to live within driving distance of my parents, but just due to the fact that the Northeast is pretty much spoken for house-wise, and the market is so high, it's just like, guess I gotta live not in Boston area. And I could go like further out, there's like Springfield or out of state, and it wouldn't be so bad, but it's just like, ugh. The crazy thing is a single family house starts at 300k. I want to live 1.5 hours away from work. One of the things I'm kind of hoping for with all of this is all of kind of the world changing and specifically lockdown and work from home is that I really want to see like work from home explode in such a way that very few people actually go into work unless they absolutely like need to be physically present for things. Because let me tell you, as a person that works from home exclusively, there are some downsides, namely just work-life balance goes to shit if you're not good at managing it. But, I mean, not having to commute, not having to worry about inclement weather, not having to worry about going to a stuffy office or your cubicle mate having a sniffle. Wow. Also, thank you, Frost Zero, for the sub. Welcome on in. Do we want to get Ebony Wings? Yeah, let's work on it. This is going way better than last time, but honestly, I think it's because this character is, like, busted strong. Oh yeah, I should probably mention if I want to buy a house around here, it's, like, also $500,000. But I don't want to buy a house around here because as much as I love Portland, it is way too dense. That, you pretty much do not get a yard, and if you do, it's, like, terrible. Does cross evolve? Yes, but I've got to get the, let's work on the sand and water. I've got to get the clover, and I kind of forgot to do so. Not that I think I really need it, to be honest. Let's see, Rune Tracer? No. Tracked Orb? Yes. Hopefully we see the other pigeon go by before it locks me into something I don't want. I might still be fine with just this combination, but we will see. Pichon! There we go. That's better. But I don't know. I guess for me, I'm always worried about other people. Maybe a little bit too much with this kind of thing, but like I know that I'm genuinely like one of the most fortunate people that I knew from back in, you know, from my graduating class. All of my graduating classes, like I'm super lucky to have gotten the job that I did, and have, you know, managed to do all this cool stuff as an internet content creator. And like I know the friend that's down in LA working in the animation industry, like probably will never be able to afford a house unless her parents get her one, or you know, pay the difference and then she gets roommates to help out or something like that. It's very much this kind of just sad thing where it's like I don't want to be the only person I know to not live in a shoebox in my entire adult life, because that would just be nothing short of depressing. I know a couple of people that do have nice houses, but they almost are all exclusively in tech and nowhere else. And like these aren't like this friend that specifically works in the animation industry, like, she's no starving artist. She very much has worked on some like big ticket projects. I think she worked on Genlock and a couple other things. Admittedly, Genlock isn't, you know, the primo anime. Genlock Season 1, I have no idea what Season 2 was even like. But going back to the idea of like work from home and stuff, is that it would be lovely to see a lot of these like industry things where you don't really need to be physically present ever. You know, it's like, okay, what if these were just not? You know, what if you could work from some cool nerdy town in, you know, not exactly Podunk, Montana, but, you know, it's got all of the amenities. It's got you know, all of the amenities. It's got fiber. It's got, you know, kind of a I don't know, microbrewery scene, or like, you know, just those kind of small industries that pop up around young people. Wow, we are just mulching werewolves. This is super nice. But, you know, take all of this stuff that kind of you can only get in the cities and spread it out a little bit because you no longer need the population density. Do we grab the spinach? Because at this point I need spinach and clover. If I go spinach, we could also go fire wand. Or I could go Axis for the AoE size. I think I'd rather have the extra damage than the extra AoE. AoE is not going to help me too much. Would have dreamed of living in a shoebox. My family lives in a hole in the middle of the road and have to dodge traffic to get in and out. Every once in a while, I eyeball those tiny houses. Whoa, hi. Also picked up a really dense gem there. But, you know, eyeball those, like, tiny house things. I think they're so neat. I never want to live in one. But I know a lot of people, they're like, yeah, that's, like, the only thing I can afford. And I'm like, oh, boy. Eesh. Let's see. Clover. There we go. Build is done. Kind of. And we can get the fire wand once the pigeons are done. What do we want to do here? More tractor? More tractor. Makes my life easier. Interesting thing always, for me, interesting thing, I guess the depressing thing, just kind of on this topic, seeing as we're here, is that I always find the counterpoint is that people should have gotten better jobs and they'd be able to afford whatever they want. I think that's a very true and kind of a sad state of mind, because no matter what, like, you're gonna need people to do certain things. You can't just have everybody be a programmer. You can't have everybody be an electrician. You can't have everybody be an investment banker. That doesn't work. Your society falls apart pretty quick if you don't have somebody to flip burgers for you. Heard on NPR, a lot of people are moving to Duluth for climate change reasons. Huh. I'm not sure if Duluth is the best place for that. I've been to Duluth. It's a lovely place. Depending on who you are, you're going to absolutely have some miserable winters. But I can totally understand why. I mean, being right on the Great Lakes means you're unlikely to be affected by the same level of, like, droughts or other problems. And sadly, ghost towns do not have the stuff that most people need to work remotely. Oh, I know. I'm just thinking, like, it would be really neat if... Oh, what's a good example? Well, I don't exactly want to advocate for company towns, but it'd be really neat if you had a number of, like, kind of seed towns that are just small places that tons of people that already work from home just start gathering in. And they kind of take over the small town and just kind of grow. The problem is that's kind of what happened with Portland. And it went from this, like, lovely, quirky small town to everybody lives here and now it's really busy. Kind of the same way with, like, San Francisco and Washington. That ultimately anything that gets cool gets ruined after about 10 to 20 years of people moving there. I mean, even LA. LA used to be way less dense. Still had terrible traffic problems, but it wasn't as bad because there weren't nearly as many. It was mostly just the movie industry, to my knowledge. Salem, Oregon. I haven't been down to Salem, Oregon. I don't know the state on that one. But when I was there to go get shell vaccinated, I don't know if that had the same level of, like, draw. I said, you know, it would probably cost a pretty penny indeed. Yeah, I know. Though, I'm curious how much of that pretty penny would be offset by property value savings. I thought oil also played a big role in LA's extreme growth. Yeah, they do actually have a bunch of oil pumps just off their coast. I'd forgotten about that. That they're actually they're not allowed to specifically do any maintenance work on the pumps during the daytime. So you have, like, a bunch of boats out there at night, messing with them, which I actually think is kind of cool, but also kind of spooky. Because, like, if any of those spill, that mucks up the city in probably in a really bad way. This is working shockingly well. I think this might actually be my new favorite, non-Mortatio character. It's so much of it I would immediately just attribute specifically to the Santa water, which, instead of just forming that kind of tidy perfect circle around you, is this, like, nebulous mass of extra damage. Sounds like a secret evil lair or refinery. Yeah? Maintenance sucks. It's so dangerous. I can imagine that. I'm just more thinking in terms of, like, not having the city be ugly for it. But I realize that that's actually kind of a bad imposition more than anything else. I wonder if they have to deal with, like, weird night oil pirates. Probably not. I'm assuming it's a lot easier to kind of track that sort of thing. I have no idea. I guess part of it is, like, most piracy is just more easily done on a bureaucratic level than a, like, brazen in-person level. There we go. This is pleasant. I like this game so much. Mainly just because, like, every run is kind of different. Even if it's very similar to many of the other runs that I've gone into. Kind of the route that you take to get there is solid. And then once you get there, it's just kind of like this nice zen. Surprisingly good thing about oil spills is there's a bacteria in the ocean that will eat oil. Huh. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Still not the kind of thing that I'd really say is, like, good, though. The main problem is, like, even if it does dissipate and get eaten by a creature, the amount of ecological damage that it does in the meantime is the bad part. It's cool that that's actually a possibility. I don't know. I guess part of me is also still just kind of mad about all the various oil spills that never got paid for, or properly cleaned up. Let's grab the fire wand. We are not going to hit max level quickly here. Can I just stand still? I probably can. Fungus that feeds off radiation is cool, but probably not a good thing that it exists in the first place. Yeah. You know, oddly enough, I'd say that's kind of like... what's a good example? I saw articles recently about, like, a vaccine for HIV, which I think is actually incredibly cool that that's being done. But some part of me is like, that's great, but also I wish we didn't need this in the first place. It's probably not as comparable, but I think that was kind of my new, like, cool tech story that I saw this week that was very heartening. That all the new vaccine tech that's been going through specifically as a result of, you know, the focus on improving vaccines for COVID has actually had some really interesting results. You know, prevention is better than a cure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, like, get too much into that one, because I've known some people that very much believed that that was a punishment from the heavens, effectively, for deviancy. I've just never been able to, I've never been able to wrap my head around it. It just constantly, even just thinking about it makes me feel gross. And so it's one of those where it's like, I'm super glad that it's a thing, but it's also kind of spooky scary, because there's a lot of people that legitimately, like, turns that into kind of a horror show for so long. What I thought was cool is a vaccine against ticks. To be clear, it's not a vaccine against Lyme disease, but ticks themselves. It causes an immune response to their bite and forces them to let go before they can transmit any of the diseases they carry. Holy shit! That's cool. Is that like an actual thing that's potentially gonna be a thing? Because, like, I'll admit, that's, ticks are... I'm not scared, like, immediately scared of a whole lot of things in life. There's a lot of things that concern me, but I'm not actually outright scared of a lot. Ticks scare the bejesus out of me. Because, yeah, Lyme disease is probably one of the scariest things. Can lay dormant and pop up whenever. Yeah, so my aunt, God, my aunt is not a good person, but also an incredibly unlucky person, and I feel like she brought a lot of it on herself, And so it's kind of hard to blame her one way or another. Shit. When she was young, she embezzled a ton of money and had to flee, like, Minnesota, back when computers weren't nearly as good at keeping track of people and where they are. And so she was able to kind of embezzle and then run. At least that's as far as I know. I don't know how much she took, and I'm pretty sure the company no longer exists or anything like that. Anyway, so she fled and more or less lived out of a trailer off the grid for X number of years. And then I guess whatever statute of limitations dropped, so she finally went back, you know, to stay with family, especially because I think her husband had died. She's had a lot of husbands, but her latest husband had died. And all I remember is that it was like a kind of a 1-2 punch, that she got kicked in the head by a horse and almost died. And then a couple years later, got bit by a tick while just kind of out and about and got Lyme's disease. And is just like incredibly unhealthy across the board. She wasn't healthy to begin with. Doesn't help that she's like a very vehement anti-vaxxer, which just blows my mind. But just hearing from her about how bad Lyme's disease was for her, was, I don't want to say eye-opening, because I always knew it was bad. But just like hearing about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's very much something I don't want to truck with. Just like long COVID or a couple others. Is your aunt's name Karma? I mean, I don't want to say that necessarily that it's like kind of proof that bad things happen to bad people. Because I don't know if she's necessarily bad. I think she was just unlucky in life. And then my grandfather's credo was to never work for another person. And if you do so, you're supposed to make as much as you can from them and then go, effectively. You know, that you're not meant to work for another person. And that your goal should be to exploit the situation as much as possible-ish. And so he was always kind of one of those people who would try and get rich quick, just doing whatever he could. For good and for ill. I mean, for the most part, it was just a bunch of shitty failed business ventures and nothing more. Which, you know, doesn't make for the most interesting stories. If I remember correctly, he had some interesting ideas about pickles that were not scientifically accurate. But he also did like blast mining and a bunch of construction stuff and a bunch of other things. But so I don't know if he ever actually worked for like another human being, and I think that's okay. I mean, I might never actually have another like normal human job. There's a very high chance that, yeah, I will be permanently self-employed, or kind of a small business owner, depending on your perspective. And that's fine. I like it, but at the same time, there's kind of a difference between what I did and what he did, but he very much impressed those values onto his kids, you know, my aunts and uncles. And I think they always had trouble struggling with that, and so my aunt specifically, very much is kind of that picture of somebody that maybe had potential, but made too many bad decisions when she was young to ever be able to kind of come back, you know, having kids young and getting in with the wrong crowd, and I'm sure just all sorts of other things. And so as such, it's kind of left her and much of my extended family kind of bitter individuals in like not a very good way. And they've just kind of been making bad decisions one after the next. I mentioned the horse thing, but so I think it must have been driven by either my aunt or my grandmother, but there was kind of a period of time where all of my grandmother and then my aunts, several of my aunts, all got into horses. Actually, all of my aunts got into horses. Oh god, I got killed by this guy. Happens. It's fine. I do like Demario, I just... Whoops, on the boss. Oh well, it's fine. Anyway, I'll just finish the story real quick. But so they all got in on buying horses and owning horses, and none of them had any money for it. And so they were shuffling the horses from one farm to the next to avoid having the horses getting repossessed, because that was just their thing. and like they never spent time with them really. They didn't really train them. They were gonna use them for shows, but they didn't have the funds or the skill to like breed them properly, and it was just kind of this like weird, gosh, I'm sure there's a TV show that's a good analog where the family does just like mild crimes left and right, and you just kind of you kind of watch their misadventures as they're like skating by. It's got to be like Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that. I need to watch more TV shows. I think Your Aunts Are the TV show. The sad thing is they might have actually been better in life if they had managed to write a good memoir and then sell these things. Because it very much is a TV show plot. But, you know, the horses... I don't know who has the horses at this point, because the farm that I knew that they had them on got sold. My grandmother sold hers and married like a fairly wealthy dude, and I have no idea if she has the horses now. Because I haven't talked to her since before the rich dude. But it just... Every time I'd hear about them and like the things that they were doing in life, it was very much like kind of reinforcing. It's a good thing that I don't really have a whole lot of contact with them. It'd be nice to have an extended family, but not that one. It's fine. Alright, let's do another.